Hello, my name is Amanda Kaiser, and this is my video diary. I am completing this video diary during August of 2016, during the summer session. So I've received my internship at Vidant Medical Center in the Behavioral Health Unit. During my internship, I've had the opportunity to work on 4 different units within the Behavioral Health Unit. These separate units are Adult, Med Psych, Intellectual Disability, and the Acute Unit. The 2 objectives that I have identified for my internship was to improve my ability to process sessions. I chose this one because I realized that I knew what I wanted my patients to get out of my group sessions. I strategically would plan the lesson, and then I would plan the activity to go along with the lesson. And at the end, I was just having a really hard time conveying what I was putting into the lesson and like what I wanted them to get from it. I was having a hard time getting that across to them. So my supervisor and I have been working on that a lot, and it's something that I'm going to continue working on even after the internship, like once I start practicing. So I believe that I have met this objective, just in that now I know that I need to put extra effort into creating thoughtful process questions that help me tie my lessons back in, and I know kind of what kinds of process questions to be asking to do exactly that. So I feel like I've met that objective just through trial and error and a lot of my supervisor taking time to work with me on it. My second objective was becoming more assertive during groups and treatment teams. After my very first group, I realized that these patients had absolutely run me over. I mean, they had taken control of the group, and I was just up there with a Sharpie marker and a piece of paper telling them, okay, here's what we're supposed to be doing. So I realized that in order to get my patients to take what I'm teaching them seriously, I needed them to take me seriously. So when I walked up there, I needed to be the boss in charge, as my supervisor so sweetly put it. So that was something that I really needed to work on. And also being in treatment teams, just being able to break into 20 doctors discussing a patient. It was very intimidating for me at first. So something that I was surprised about is how receptive patients are to recreation therapy services. It's also very helpful that a lot of the other disciplines are very supportive of RT in our unit. Nursing staff really helps encourage patients to go to RT group sessions, and it's really instilled in patients that in order to discharge, you really need to go to rec therapy sessions to see different coping outlets and to learn these really important coping skills that they'll need to use. So it surprised me how important and how supported RT was as a general discipline by the other disciplines. The thing that I learned most from ECU and from my rec therapy classes was group planning. During courses, I guess I never quite realized how important this piece was. And just through having the opportunity to run groups, I've noticed that it takes a lot of time and energy to be able to encourage people to have a discussion. I'm not a very talkative person, so getting other people to talk was a huge barrier when I first started leading groups. I also found that a big part of the group planning was figuring out what groups would be useful to my patients, really getting to know the patients that were in these groups and kind of seeing what they were in the hospital dealing with so that I could know, okay, we could do stress management for this set of patients because they might actually get something from it. The last thing I'd want to do is teach them skills that, they really didn't need. So, and that's one of the best ways I found to engage the patients in the groups is to find things that they all kind of need and that they've all expressed they wanted to learn more about, And if it's something they want to learn, then they'll be engaged. So some advice that I would have for future interns is, especially if you wind up in mental health, just to remember that your patients are people too. And this can be kind of difficult to remember sometimes because you get caught up in the diagnoses. I mean, we get such interesting patients sometimes that you look at them and you think, oh, that's the guy that talks to himself in the hallway. When really, you got to remember that this is also the guy who may have experienced severe trauma or had his first psychiatric break at 16 and he's been this way his entire life. So, you need to remember to be compassionate towards them, even if sometimes the medical community forgets that they're more than a diagnosis. I have realized that rec therapy is such an amazing medicine in that we treat the person. Of course we help them work through coping skills and things, but we really focus on the people and we give them that compassion that sometimes the other disciplines might lack. And so that's been a huge learning piece for me, is getting to know my patients and having an opportunity to kind of break down those, I'm the therapist, you're the patient bonds. I've really gotten to know some of my patients and, kind of realizing where, of course, keeping that professional barrier, but realizing that they are still people and recognizing that, you can give them so much just by getting to know them and listening to their stories. I would absolutely be open to having other interns contact me with questions or anything if future Viden interns wanted to know what the experience was like. Being in the behavioral health unit was fantastic. I did not think I was going to fall in love with mental health as much as I did. So the patients were wonderful. The staff was wonderful. I could not have hoped for a better experience. So thank you to everyone who made it that way.